It's time to create a profitable, scalable, and sustainable studio for yourself and your students. Welcome to Dance Studio Empire. I'm Jen, dance studio owner for 30 years, running multiple locations with over 1,000 students, dance business coach turned mastermind mentor for dance studio owners, creatives, and leaders like you. I know you're committed to growing your studio and creating the time and financial freedom you most want, while also being the best in the industry with a reputation to match. I've coached hundreds of studio owners who have grown to 250, 500, and over 1,000 students using my signature studio scaled method. And in this podcast, I'll give you the clarity, strategy, and CEO mindset to help you do the same. Let's dive in. Hey Dance Fam, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Dance Studio Empire podcast. It feels really good to be back. I don't know if you've been listening to the last couple of weeks, but I've had interviews and it's been really fun. It's been a new project for me, like having so many people interviewed. And I like the idea of just trying to bring you more perspective, more experience from outside of just myself and my own learning and what I know, and to be able to share other people's knowledge and experience. So I hope you have got a lot out of that. Please let me know if you love the interview format as well. But there was another reason that I did put those 3 interviews in a row. And that was that I myself just wanted to take a step back and do a little bit of reevaluating because I just want to make sure that I am continuing to share with you and give you information that is going to be impactful, that is relevant, and something that you can take with you and implement and make a difference. I just want the absolute best for you. And I feel like at the moment there is always a shift happening, and I'm feeling at the moment there's quite a big shift happening. And so I wanted to just take a step back and evaluate what it is that I want to continue sharing with you, just to make sure that I'm giving you my absolute best. And so in doing that, I have been able to take time to have a look at my messaging, have a look at the information that I'm sharing with you. And I am so excited that it has all come together so beautifully. And so moving forward, you may even notice a bit of a shift in the episodes that I'm going to be giving to you. And hopefully, again, as I said, I just hope you can take that and really make it yours and just help continue with your success. So what my focus will be on is I'm really focusing in on scaling your business as opposed to growing. So we hear all about studio growth and this is ways to grow and become more successful. But I am going to challenge that thinking, and I would love for you to come along on that journey with me, but challenging that thinking of scaling instead of growth. And I will absolutely get into a whole lot more detail about that as the episodes progress. And in other news, we have in the last couple of weeks had the Victorian Dance Festival, as well as the Dance Teacher Expo. So the Victorian Dance Festival, I actually did fly down to be part of that. I was there for the Teachers' Day. I just love that event. I love the conversations that I have. I love catching up with people that I see there each year. Some really old, long-time friends. It's lovely to catch up. And hopefully, again, I was part of a panel. We were talking business stuff, and hopefully what I contributed was helpful, and that's what I'm actually going to be sharing today on today's podcast. But then, and just more recently, we had the Dance Teacher Expo, which again appeared to be a very successful event. My most exciting part about that is I did have quite a number of my mastermind girls had flown in or had attended, so I did get to see most of them, which was lovely. We went out for dinner, and so yeah, that also really filled my soul. But yeah, so now back in the office, it's time to get focused, moving into the next couple of months. Lots of exciting projects happening, and yeah, I want to take you along for the ride. All right, but let's get into today's episode. Now, as I just previously mentioned, this is the topic that I spoke about at VDF, and it was just such good information. We were told, or we were asked by Deb, who runs VDF, to share one secret to success that I've found in my journey or the journey of my clients. So that was the brief. And I loved this question. I loved the fact that it made me stop and think, because I didn't want to just quickly, you know me, I do a lot of pre-planning because I like to know exactly what I'm doing. And I thought long and hard about this, because the word success, I don't know why I don't love the word success. I love the concept of it, but I don't know, there's just something, whether we're hearing it too much at the moment or it's putting unnecessary pressure on people, I'm not quite sure what it is, but it did allow me to just stop and take some time to think about it, because success means such different things to each of us, and there are so many things that contribute to anyone's success. And so this is where, I started thinking deep, and I started with a list. Okay, what are some of the things that I would contribute to being successful? Connections, one, consistency, systems, having a good team. Like, these are all really important parts of success. But as I looked deeper into each of the things on my list, I did keep circling back to what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And that is, I just believe an important and powerful, it's not really a secret, but a tip to success is to simply listen and observe. Now, when I'm talking about listening, I'm talking more about just hearing words. It's more about actively engaging with the world around you, absorbing information and gaining valuable insights, because everything that you hear, everything that you see gives you clues. And it's the skill that then can transform how we each lead, how we each teach, and then how we can grow our businesses. So let's get into it. When I'm talking about listening and observing, who is it and what are we listening and observing? So the first thing is your dancers, all the kids that come to your studio, the adults that attend your studio, anyone that's coming in, listening and watching them. The second one are your parents, so having a look at their interactions, the conversations. That there's a lot of clues that can be picked up from even body language. The third one is your team, so listening and observing your team. The fourth one is your data and your metrics. So when I'm talking about this, we're starting with your leads, your conversion rates, your retention rates. What are these numbers telling you? And then the fifth one is listening and observing your gut instincts. What is it telling you? How are you feeling? Are you listening and are you observing those feelings in any situation that you are in? All right, so let's get into a little bit more detail. Listening to those conversations. Now, the conversations are a big clue, and this could be in the waiting room. You could be in the conversation or you could be outside of the conversation, but just listening to those conversations. Whether it's in the classroom, so between your teachers and the students, are you happy with the tone? Are you happy with the language that's being used? It could be between students and students. So again, particularly when people don't know you're listening, is the best time to sort of, essentially you're eavesdropping, let's be real. However, you're doing it for the right reasons. You could be hearing conversations between students, and it could be things like problems that they're having, maybe not even within the studio necessarily, but it could be things at school. It could be things that they're really loving, and you could use that information to add to the classroom, to put on a workshop with that theme or use those songs. It could also be, you could pick up conversations of people talking about leaving. Maybe they're saying they're not feeling happy or they're not feeling seen, or they're talking about another studio. I think the beauty of that, if you do hear that can then start a conversation between you and them, and you can start addressing problems, and it could possibly stop you losing that particular student if you just take on board what's being said. The next thing is to listen to questions being asked. Now, I know as a studio owner, I know how frustrating it is, and I hear it and I see it all the time. I felt it, I get it. How we say, well, we've sent the email, we've put it on the notice board, we've done a handout, we've told the kids, we've put it on Facebook, a Facebook post about it, and they're still asking the same question. But what I like to do is simply take a step back and just go, first of all, it's my job. It is my job, as frustrating as it is. It's my job to answer these questions. Remember, they are the ones paying, so it's okay. And then I also then just like to think, why are they asking? Is it that they simply didn't read the email? Most probably yes. But then it's like, well, could I have written it in a clearer, more succinct way? Is it too complicated? Is there a better way for me to communicate this? And so I look at it like, I think of people's brains, including my own, are just so busy and filled with so much information, and there's lots happening. And if I then was to throw in a really detailed long newsletter about a performance, it might just be too hard for someone to decipher through that information. So you might be better off just going back and doing dot points. Be here this time, this is what you need to be wearing. And, keeping it really simple. Because I know, and I'm even talking for myself, when I'm in a bit of a state with so much information in my brain, if I get sent information or emails, I tend to just say that's way too hard at the moment. I can't process that, and I'll put it off. And I'd just rather make a phone call or speak to someone and say, can you just quickly tell me what it is I need to know? So I just use those questions that are being asked as a way to better myself and work out, is there a better way for me to communicate this? Might be something. So try and not get frustrated with it, and just try and use that information to improve and tweak the situation. Okay, the next one is listening to feedback. Okay, so feedback comes in many, many forms. It can, of course, be verbal, but it can also be body language as well. So reading body language. But feedback, whether it's in conversation, in an email, whether it's directly to you or not, just remember with feedback, you don't have to agree with it, or you don't have to think it's justified. But there is also a reason why someone has expressed it. Okay, now it's hard at the moment, especially if the feedback is negative or something that is you believe to be completely wrong. I totally understand that. However, sometimes people just speak to want to be heard, and that's fine. And you can just sometimes just easily put that to rest. But sometimes there may be something that you can determine from that feedback. And it may be that the feedback is that that particular person isn't suitable for your studio anymore, and you may ask them to leave. There's lots that can come from it. And I think just human nature is we get our back up as soon as we get some feedback that is negative. Of course we take it personally, because we do put our heart and soul into everything we do in our business. And so we do take it personally. I'm sure there are a few robots out there that don't, and good for you, in all honesty. I think that's amazing. I know for me, it doesn't matter how long I've been doing it. It doesn't matter how many times I tell myself it's a business and I'm doing the right thing. It still does hurt. However, I just want to encourage you to take that and then turn it into something positive, and try and not let it hurt your heart, which I'm saying that, but I know the feeling. So, I'm with you. All right, that's with feedback. Now, the next one is observing the actions of your students and even your teachers, really, and even the parents, actually, as I'm saying this, just observing what they're participating in. What are they coming to? Like those events that aren't compulsory. Who's coming? What's the attendance rate like? Are they laughing? Are they laughing in situations? When and what is making your families love the experience of your studio? Take the time to just see, you can see a group of girls, they're playing games waiting for their class to start, and they're laughing and having a great time. What is it? You're reading the body language, you're putting on events, people aren't coming. Why aren't they coming? Is it the messaging behind the event? Is it the fact that they feel like they're a number? They're not feeling included? Like little things like that. Try and just have a look and observe that, to be able to make those extra things really vital. in your studio growth. All right, the next one. Listening to what your teachers or your staff are really saying to you when in conversation. Because sometimes they may say something, but there is more to it. Now, I totally get it that with your teachers, if you've got a good team, you're pretty much running through the studio saying, how's everything going? Are you good? Yep, excellent, great. And you don't want them to be a problem. You don't want to have to spend time, sorting out stuff like that. However, it's really important that you do take time, because you need to observe their body language and the things that they are saying, particularly if you are asking questions, moving forward. So just checking in, how's the concert routines going? And they're like, yep, really good. And if you were to watch their body language, you're like, oh no, they're not really good. We're 4 weeks out, why are they not good? And it could just simply be that they're behind in the choreography, or they're not up to where you want them to be, or they're not happy with the progress. But what that is allowing is then going to open the conversation for you to say, okay, hang on, what's going on? Where do you need help? Where can I support you? Where has the ball been dropped? And so again, you want to be taking the time, with the time that I know you don't have because you are so busy, but really just listening deeply to what's being said, watching that body language, just to ensure that your team stay on track. And then moving on to that is then just listening and observing how your teachers are teaching in the classroom. So are you happy with the language that they're using, the tone, the engagement? Are they including everyone? Are they using names? Whatever is important for you, whatever your training is for your teachers. And go back to the retention. How are the retention rates for particular teachers? Is it their class management? Are you happy with how they're controlling the class? Are you happy with the improvement of the students, their progression? Maybe results, maybe you're doing comps or exams. Are you happy with the inclusion? Are the teachers including everyone in the class if that's what's important to you? This again is just going to give you that information to start investigating if there is a drop in retention, or if there is a drop in people feeling happy about being in particular classes. So, you can hear what I'm saying, right? So just looking and observing. And I can also hear you saying, I'm so busy, I don't have time for this. But we really do have to prioritize. If you want to keep growing and be successful, you have to prioritize these small things. All right. Next point is looking at your income and your expenses. So finances are a big thing for all of us. There's a lot of changes at the moment. So I just encourage you to look at your ins and look at your outs. Where is it that you are leaking money? And where can you find ways to save money? So increasing your income starts by reducing your expenses. So have a look through whether you can print out a report from your studio software, whether you just know because you pay the bills all the time. Have a look at it and have a look where you can make adjustments, changing companies, maybe ring around your telephone and internet company, see if you can get a better price, your insurance company, see if you can get a better price. Little things like that, have a look. Then I want you to have a look at what's generating extra income, what's really working well in your studio. And then when you find that, how can you do more of that? So if it's your preschool program are thriving, how can you then nurture and look after this particular area so that you can keep generating extra income from that? So that's just an overview of the finances. It's a big one. It can't be said in a 30-second grab. But yeah, so that is definitely a big one that I know I have conversations. Literally this week, I had a conversation with a studio owner and she just said, I just bury my head. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about the money. Well, that's fine, but we need to know. We need to know. And then once we know, we can then make it work for you. All right. And then finally, the last thing you want to be keeping your eye over, watching and observing is your data and your numbers. So again, this is looking at your leads, into your trials, into your conversions, and then into your retention. So where is it in that journey that people are dropping off? Is it that you're getting the leads, you're getting them into the classroom, but they're not converting after that first trial? Because if it is, where there's something going wrong in that trial. Or is it that you aren't getting any leads? And full stop, you aren't getting any leads. So have a look. Is it your marketing message? Is it the photos you're using? Is it that you're not out there enough? You're able to identify it. Maybe you get the leads, you get the trials, they convert, they stay, but sort of in the middle of term 2, all of a sudden they're wavering and they don't want to continue into term 3. This information just gives you the opportunity to work out where you can then focus on where you need to fix, tweak, or adjust that part of the process. And that all just comes from looking at your data and your numbers. And don't forget, I do have that calculator which calculates your leads and your trials, your conversion and your retention rate. And so if you do want that, do just send me a message on Instagram and I can just send you the link for that. It's easy. You just plug in the numbers and it gives you all the numbers that you need, and it helps you keep track of that data. So so they're just some points of things to really look at and observe deeply as the studio owner, as a business owner, because in essence, listening and observing it isn't a passive act. It's an active strategy that we can use to identify opportunities and also just address challenges head on so they don't become major. They don't take up more time than what you have. Remember, time, I know how busy you are. We don't have time for this stuff. So it's really important to spend time on what's important. And then when you listen and observe, you then just can see where things are working and where things aren't. And then you just take decisive action moving forward towards whatever your definition of success is. Okay, how does that feel? Does that feel achievable? I hope so. I hope so. It is something that you will also practice over time and become better at it. I do want to finish though with just the importance of listening to your gut instincts. So many times we put those feelings to the side, and sometimes it's out of necessity. So it may be that you have someone on staff that you know isn't the right fit, but you know you need them there. Times like that are challenging because you do have to keep running a business. However, always keep that sort of feeling in the back of your mind. If you have a family that if you have a conversation with someone who wants to join your studio and you know from that conversation that they are not right, or even it's like, oh, I don't think they're going to be happy, I would 100% just go with that feeling, because if you do end up taking them in, they are going to cause you grief, they are going to cause you stress, and they're going to take up more of your time. So remember that feeling and listen to it and trust it. I think maybe too, our younger studio owners might not be as attuned to that, maybe not all of them. And maybe it's because some of us older studio owners have maybe been burned so many times that we've just learned that it's better that we trust that. Whatever the situation is, I do really wholeheartedly hope you do listen to those feelings, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to be right. And I always say that one time that I'm not, I would rather the odds of that and messing up that one time over the other amount of times that I have made the right decision. All right, fam, that is it. I hope you can take that information and start to use it and to help you to become bigger and better, and just take a little bit more control of the studio. Remember, it's all about scaling, not growing, which I will be talking a lot more about as the episodes progress over the next couple of months. I am super excited. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it. I would love for as many dance studio owners to get their hands on these episodes. As usual, they are practical. You can take notes, you can implement straight away to hopefully just help you. That's my goal. All right, everyone, I'm going to leave it there today. Have a really great week moving forward, and I will be back in your ears next week.